I want to introduce you guys to a new segment where we give approval ratings for every head coach in every division. We rate them on a scale 0 through 100. The higher the rating is reflection of great performance, and the lower the rating is reflection of bad performance, and that coach may be in jeopardy of potentially losing his job in the near future. What gave me inspiration for this segment is the game called NFL Head Coach '09. If you ever played it, you know that it's the deepest, most immersive simulation football game ever. And you don't even control the players on the field. You're just a coach and you manage the roster. And it's so in depth that it's nothing like Madden. If you've ever played it, then you know the game I'm talking about. If not, go watch a few YouTube videos. And they have something called approval rating. And throughout the game, depending on your performance, your approval rating will go up or down. And the lower your approval rating went, the closer you were to getting fired. So I want to give approval ratings for every head coach in the NFC South, starting off with newly hired Saints head coach Kellen Moore. He starts off at a 100 only because he hasn't done anything, so we can't judge him off any decision. He is in for an uphill battle, though. The Saints are $51 million under the cap. They have an aging veteran defense. You have a general manager that has done a poor job of drafting. You got a few players to work with on offense. Chris Olave, when healthy, is a really good player. Alvin Kamara, if they don't trade him, is really good as well. They got two really promising young offensive tackles. But other than that, there's a lot of holes with this team, especially at quarterback. Good luck to him. I doubt he's going to be able to succeed in New Orleans, but I'll give him a chance. Dave Canales, my approval rating for him is an 85. He did a fantastic job in year one in Carolina. The objective wasn't to win games. The goal was to fix Bryce Young, and Dave Canales did that with flying colors. This is the third straight season that he has resurrected a quarterback that he's coached. He did it in Seattle with Geno Smith when he was a first-time offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield. And now with Bryce Young, he's turned him into the Carolina Reaper. They got to build up the defensive side of the football, though. They kept defensive coordinator Jaro Evero. I agree with that decision. He's a really good defensive coordinator. He just didn't have anything to work with. Plus, his best player, Derek Brown, got injured early during the season. If the Panthers can figure out the defense, they can get some more playmakers around Bryce Young. Dave Canales has the possibility to be a sneakily good hire that nobody saw coming. Todd Bowles has a approval rating of 78. I have a really sour feeling about the way the Buccaneers season ended. I knew going into that game, Todd Bowles couldn't be trusted. And the way I feel about Todd Bowles now is mainly because I told my homeboy before that Commanders playoff game not to bet on the Bucs. He took the Buccaneers -3. I told him, my guy, I love you, but you are making an incredibly bad decision trusting a Todd Bowles coach team in the playoffs. An often theme with the Buccaneers under Todd Bowles is that they have a tendency to beat themselves. And for him to be a defensive-minded coach, his defenses always get carved up when they play rookie quarterbacks. And the last time they saw Jaden Daniels was early during the season. Seeing him a second go-around, he was going to be better prepared for this defense. And he shredded Tampa Bay. Every time the Commanders were in the fourth down situation, they went for it, and they always converted. Jaden Daniels was always going to the right spot with the ball. And I'm just looking at Todd Bowles on the sideline because, you know, he got that famous expression when he just looked blank. He just looked clueless about what's going on. And I'm just saying to the screen of the TV, you're a defensive-minded coach. Why is your defense getting carved up? Y'all remember when C.J. Stroud, not last season, but during his rookie season, threw for like 5 touchdowns and 1,000,000 yards against Todd Bowles' defense and engineered the game-winning touchdown drive? I think it's only a matter of time before the Buccaneers end up missing the playoffs and we start having a serious conversation about if the Buccaneers should keep Todd Bowles around. And lastly, we got Raheem Morris, who has the lowest approval rating in the NFC South at 47. Look, 8-9 to a lot of you guys is probably a good season, a good starting point for year one, but not for the expectations that the Falcons had going into last year. They were favorites to win this division. I want y'all to remember that. They were favorites to win this division. Before the season started, they traded for Matthew Judon. They signed Justin Simmons in free agency. Those are 2 moves you make when your goal is to make the playoffs. And instead, they have one of the biggest second half collapses of this season. You start off 6-3. You have some inspiring performances out of Kirk Cousins during that span against the Philadelphia Eagles Monday night. We can never forget that game. And then that Thursday night game when he got possessed by the spirit of Brady and he was just going off. He just couldn't be stopped. But, man, when reality hit, it hit Kirk Cousins in the worst way imaginable. He just could not stop throwing to the other team. There was a point where he was throwing more interceptions to the other team than he was touchdowns to his own squad. And Raheem Morris took so long to pull the trigger. The clock management was awful. That Sunday night game against Washington still frustrates me to this day. Raheem Morris should have been a one-and-done coach. Easily. They should have hired Bill Belichick. The Falcons are a team that already is good enough to be in the playoffs. They are in the weakest division in the NFL. The only decision that I give Raheem Morris kudos for was drafting Michael Penix in the top 10. That was a decision that at the time received a lot of scrutiny, but looking back on it, hindsight is 2020. I know that decision to draft Michael Penix saved Raheem Morris and the entirety of the Atlanta Falcons front office, boy, because, man, if they didn't have Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins still had to be the guy because they didn't have anybody better, boy, they were going to be SOL. It was going to get so ugly for them. But I like the offensive coordinator that Raheem Morris has hired. He's pretty good. Hell, maybe he should be the head coach. The offense looks really promising. The defense is supposed to be Raheem Morris' shebang, and that's the worst side of football. That's a big red flag for me. So that's why Raheem Morris has the lowest approval rating out of all the head coaches in the NFC South, because he underachieved relative to the expectations compared to all of them. Todd Bowles wasn't expected by most to be in the playoffs again. Everybody expected the Panthers and the Saints to be garbage. The Falcons were damn near locked to win this division, be a playoff team. These are my AFC South approval ratings. Leave your approval ratings for all of these coaches in the comment section down below if you're watching on YouTube.